When you think of Freedom 250, this being the biggest event ever, it's on the White House lawn, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. These names don't say that to you. It's not something that you feel like, I feel like if you look at a UFC 300 or UFC 200 or UFC 100, you saw bigger names.
100.
That's great. Like, that's
I
wild.
100% agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, welcome back to another episode of Brick Brothers Podcast, joined with Evan Dillard today. We're approaching over 2,100 bricks. We appreciate all the support. As always, continue to like, share, hype up this video. Today we'll be discussing UFC 326 and some of the breaking news with the White House card. Let's get into it.
All right, man. UFC 326, main event. It was Holloway versus Olivera. It was unfortunate. I'm just gonna skip over that one and go to Borralho.
What you talking about?
I'm just playing. I love Max Holloway. We're gonna talk about it. Charles Olivera versus Max Holloway. He became the new BMF champion. How do you feel about it, bro?
Oh, I mean, it's pretty much what I expected. We spoke about this last week. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the full thing out, but we at least got the fight picks. But with that being said, it's what I expected, bro. Like I said something, and maybe. But it's not even just about, like, predicting. I feel like Max Holloway is somebody who's really endured himself to fans. He has that fight, the fan-friendly style where he's always coming forward, the finger point, former champion, obviously super credentialed as far as his accomplishments. But when you look at it on paper, right, skill for skill, I didn't see any area of total control for Max Holloway. I didn't think striking. I thought boxing Max had an advantage, but all around in striking, as far as knees, kickboxing range, elbows, I thought Charles Olivera was probably more complete. I thought in the grappling department, there's a pretty big discrepancy between Charles Olivera. This fight being at 155, Max isn't really a natural 55er. Charles has been a champion at this weight class. I thought that would play out a little bit as well. So I wasn't surprised. Now, to give Max Holloway some credit, I was impressed by his ability to not get submitted. I picked Charles Olivera by submission. So for Max to be able to defend in those those situations and not get finished, I was thoroughly I was very impressed. What were your thoughts on the fight?
I'll tell you what, and you talk about it a lot. It's very cool to see someone showcase skill set, so you can see the difference. And you know how I feel about Max, which is why I tried to glaze over the topic. It hurt me a little bit. He went in there and got beat up.
Crazy.
Hey, he went in there and got beat up, and it's unfortunate. But Charles Olivera is very technically sound everywhere, and it showed you the difference. Max Holloway's wrestling is not where it needs to be, and when he's up against a striker who can strike, he doesn't really have that power behind it, so he's not knocking Charles out like Ilya or something like that with one punch. And the grappling, of course, he set up his takedowns with short strikes and got it to the mat as quickly as he could, which is the game plan. I think that was the best route to victory, and I think he looked amazing doing so. And also, like you said, size advantage. Olivera's just a big guy, and Holloway, he's big in stature, maybe height, but he's not that large of a human, So I think that played a factor as well. But like you said, just technical skill for skill, I think Olivera showed why he is revered as one of the greats of all time.
Yeah, I think Charles Olivera is as good as it gets in
mixed
martial arts.
Pretty much a master class. It was good.
I think he's literally, as good as it gets in MMA. The thing that I just didn't expect, I thought that we might see a little bit more action, right? Charles Olivera did a good job of landing elbows and stuff, and really nullifying Max on the ground. As far as Max's wrestling, you said something. I think Max's wrestling is pretty decent as far as very decent. I think he had an 80% takedown defense rate in the UFC. So he hasn't been an easy person to take down. Charles Olivera is just, he has the most submissions in the UFC. He's just good at getting the fight where it needs to go. So I give more credit to Charles Olivera, not so much taking away something from Max.
No, that's real. As we talk about grappling, do you think that fighters who are fighting for the BMF title should grapple, or do you think it should be more of a slugfest? Are we looking for a battle? I know how you feel about the title already, but what do you expect when it's a BMF title fight?
Nothing. A bunch of ass. I didn't expect nothing. I don't understand why. So like I saw online where there was Nate Diaz, even Hamzat chimed in, which is crazy for him. Nah, like your last fight, you was doing nothing but grabbing and
That's
hugging.
facts.
So for you to come out and say something is crazy. Duplessis took 500 strikes to the face and wasn't hurt at all. Barely had a mark on his face. So that's crazy. But what do we expect, right? Like these are two of the best fighters in the world fighting. I think Max was ranked number 4 at lightweight. I think Olivera was number 3, something like that. With that being said, it should be in the notes. But with that being said, when you're fighting somebody that good in mixed that great, excuse me, you don't care how you win. I mean, obviously you're not trying to be boring and you want to, finish, your opponent. But at the same point in time, Max Holloway isn't a opponent that you should be playing around with. You saw what happened to Justin Gaethje, him getting sparked. You saw what he did to Dustin Poirier last time. So for Charles Oliveira to do whatever he had to do to win, that's a respect to Max Holloway's greatness. Like, I don't understand what people thought. That's why I said before, when we talk about the BMF, it's usually for two fighters who would be willing to do foolish things because they're not in the contention for the title anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this BMF shit is getting beyond itself.
It's getting out of hand. I agree.
It's silly.
They're going to star power now, just throwing 2 big names and, put them in a hat and let's just see what happens. It's kind of wild.
See, but when Nate Diaz and Masvidal fought, we knew we wasn't finna get nothing that was gonna hold up the division or anything. This is the people who are ranked in the top 5, if I'm correct. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to see, them face some premier matchups after this. Like what's going on with Sarukian, what's going on with we'll get to Gaethje and Topuria, but that's the magnitude of this fight. And I think, as I said before, fights that lack context don't do anything for us. I didn't really feel like we thought this was like a big fight moment, and I think these guys are premier, and it should have been a big moment. And I feel like we missed that.
Yeah, it was definitely downplayed. I feel like a lot of people tuned in, but a lot of people weren't as pumped as you would expect for once you hear Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira, in my opinion. But so Charles wins. What do you think is next for him? You think he's gonna get Topuria or Gaethje after that fight? What do you think?
I gotta work on my accent. I ain't never said Topuria as Chris as you did.
I'm weak. I've been practicing. I told you after messing up them names that one day.
Nah, you good. Most of them people names you ain't need to remember. No way. No disrespect. With that being said, they're talking about doing a BMF possibly with Conor, I've in a post-fight, Conor fighting, and I think that's fun. But I want to see Charles Oliveira get himself back to title contention.
I kind of want to see Conor come back.
So when you say you want to see Conor come back, why does I have a question? This is a random side quest. Why does Conor McGregor deserve to fight Charles Oliveira today?
He don't. That's a fact.
He does not. Like, no. Not at all.
He should not come back for no BMF title fight.
No. I would be fine with Conor and Max fighting each other. I would not be fine with Conor and Charles fighting each other. I think that Conor McGregor is coming off of a loss. Since that Max just lost yesterday, they don't need, I think this is what I'm saying, they don't need a title to fight. It's Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. What more do you need to sell a fight than that? They fought before when they both were young. Both of them are at the stage of their career where they already have the achievements and accomplishments. Max Holloway probably isn't going to win the lightweight title. It's probably not going to happen. The champion at this weight class happens to be the same person who knocked him out and took out, beat him in a title fight. So it's probably not going to happen. You lost to Charles Oliveira, who was the champion before. If Islam ever decides to come back. So my point being is Max don't need a belt. He's already solidified as one of the GOATs, in the UFC.
I agree.
I think Conor and Max, book that one. That's a great fight. Let's do that. But as far as for Charles Oliveira, try to get back to title contention. He's getting older. I know he started in UFC very early, but, he has a lot of miles in his body. I would love to see him and Topuria rematch. I know that Topuria, sparked him, knocked him out quickly. I would like to think that Charles Oliveira would be smarter in a rematch.
Yeah, make the proper adjustments. Of course, go back to the drawing board.
For sure.
He went in there and did almost exactly what he shouldn't have done in the beginning, I think. But And BMF titles, do you think this should end it, or do you want them to keep playing around with this belt?
It's over, bro. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had this conversation. You know, I
Do you
know
think
where.
it's doing something for business, honestly? Because that's the only thing I could like. Are they selling more because they put BMF on the marquee card? You know?
No, I don't think it does anything for anyone. I think that, as I said, the old school model, in order for you to have a big card, you feel like you need to have a title on the line, right?
Mhm.
It's like the big thing that you feel like should be done,
Of
should
course.
be there, an interim title, a BMF. But I think fight fans who are savvy enough know that it's not really a real title. It's a random accolade that's given.
Yeah.
Like my point, I think I said this yesterday when we were watching the fights. Max Holloway had already won the BMF title, and he fought Topuria, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think Topuria's like, so I get the BMF, right?
Yeah.
No, so it's not like you fight every single time. They just randomly be like, oh, BMF. Did Masvidal ever lose the BMF? Like,
You're right. He did
is it
that. He
like
don't.
30 BMFs? Like, we just gonna do BMF forever? Like, you know, like Big Meech and them went to jail. The BMF been done. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't even want to be it if I'm being
Nah,
honest.
I'm just saying I ain't watched the series 50 Cent had nothing. BMF, that shit's over.
Cancel it.
It's stepped on, it's played out. I just feel like this should be the end. But if you want to trick the casual fan that is doing something, okay, BMF, we got Bo Nickel versus Hamzat Chumayev. That's the next BMF. Okay, we doing BMF. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm over
Yeah.
it.
No, I hear you. It's pretty much it makes no sense. There's no sensibility behind it. Does nothing for anyone in the weight class. So yeah, I say we end it as well. Let's get to the co-main. We got Kyle Borralho versus Renier de Ridder. Borralho came out looking kind of sporadic, but he did get back in the win column. A victory for him. How did it look to you? What do you see from the fight? What did you see from him?
That's what we expected, right? I think so, at least.
Yeah.
I thought Kyle had an advantage in the striking department. That's what I saw being the biggest issue possibly for RDR. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
the striking for Kyle Borralho. Also, Kyle has really good jujitsu. So I knew that the grappling might be a bit of a wash. But
Mhm.
with that being said, I thought Kyle did a really good job. He looked fluid, he looked fast, he looked sharp. He did a really good job of landing big strikes. He, was feinting and moving well, walking RDR down, not taking a lot of damage. But with that being said, RDR is one of the toughest individuals on the roster. Kyle
Terrible.
was landing a lot of big shots, and he never seemed to be out of the fight as far as being close to being finished or stopped. So I give him a lot of credit for that. But that's really what I expected. RDR did have some success early or late, in round one as far as with the grappling and got to a key spot. But he had a hard time taking Kyle down. I think he only got one takedown the fight, and the fight was really a kickboxing match. And RDR did a good job of landing some strikes. It was close. I thought both looked good in the fight. I would have been intrigued to see what the fight looked like if it was a 5-rounder. I think that RDR is one of those fighters who benefits from fighting longer. He was a champion in another organization before, and then he's found himself in a lot of big matchups where he's had more time to finish guys. So with that being said, I thought that RDR did a hell of a job. I thought Kyle did everything that he needed to do. It was pretty much what I expected from both of them.
Oh, fair enough. I think Kyle Borralho did a great job of mixing up his strikes and making sure that he was on the gas pedal at all times. He kept moving forward, and I feel like the Ritter is very good at setting up strikes. Once he gets a look, and if you don't give him a look, it's hard for him to set up strikes.
He got that awkward-ass style, too.
Yeah, and as you said with the takedowns, he was 1 for 8, I believe. So stopping that was a big deal.
Yeah, he was just shooting from way far out. He's not a natural wrestler. He's really
Mhm.
more of a jiu-jitsu grappler, more of an MMA hybrid type of grappler. He's not somebody who has like a really good shot or really good from the clinch. He's just timely with his takedowns. He uses kind of pace and attrition to, wear guys out. He's scrappy, always landing those knees, and front kicks up the front.
Mhm.
So, against Kyle, he had a tough time. Now, I was surprised with Kyle giving him all those opportunities. Kyle was fighting with his hands extremely low,
Mhm.
and RDR didn't really pick up on that. It was funny, Joe Rogan and them were saying, I think Joe Rogan said, when guys have their hands at their hips, you can't see where the punches are coming from. But that's the thing. KO would have his hands low when he would be taunting and kind of stalking and walk him down. But then when he would get in range, his hands would raise up so he could defend and block and then also throw the punch. So that was kind of a tell. RDR didn't really see that. And I guess his corners, didn't make that adjustment and tell him, every single time he picks his hands up, he's looking to throw the, get in range and throw. He's looking to block, he's looking to do whatever. So when you see his hands low, just aim and fire. That didn't happen, but it is what it is.
Of course. Also, Kyle exposed himself to the crowd. I don't know if you caught that, but
exposed himself to the crowd.
Yeah, he got hit. He got hit in the junk, and he had to readjust.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that's real facts.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. You paid the regular stream for that? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's some
that's regular price.
That's some OnlyFans material, and I try not to.
Yeah, if you're in the crowd, you got a little show.
I try not to indulge. They got the block in Missouri. You can't even view it access unless you put your ID online. So we did anyway. I'm fine with not getting a premium package. Pause. You know what I'm saying?
I'm hurt. Hey, what's next for Kyle Borralho after the victory? All jokes aside.
Yeah, that's a good question, bro. I think Kyle should get something, a premier matchup. He's been doing a really good job in the UFC. Only stumbled one time. I think him and Robocop would be a good fight. I think that fight would be a banger. There's somebody else in the division who I was thinking about. Let me take a look real quick.
Robocop would be crazy.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good fight. Let me look at the rankings real quick. There was somebody else who I had kind of in the mix as well. Oh, Fluffy. That was the other name.
Oh, Fluffy Hernandez.
Anthony Hernandez. I think either one of them, that'd be cool. So I'm going to give Kyle Anthony Hernandez. I think that's a perfect fight. We're gonna move off the Robocop. I say Fluffy Hernandez. That'd be perfect.
Stylistically, that looks good. I hear you.
That's a dope matchup.
How about the Ritter, man? Who is he fighting next?
I'm gonna give him Robocop. I think that's a little better. I think this a fun style. Robocop is somebody who we're gonna get on Robocop. So I'm not even gonna break that down yet. But somebody who I feel like has an appropriate style, a lot of power, takes chances, and a grappler as well. I would love to see that stylistic matchup between him and Reiner de Ritter.
I think both would be great matchups. Feature bout Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr.
Chewy, yeah, he didn't get to do his Chewy. I ain't hear him do it yesterday.
He broke it down with our craft. He went out there and wrestled his way to a unanimous decision victory over Font. Were you impressed with his skill set at all?
Of course.
Did you like how he fought the fight?
I like how he fought the fight, or impressed.
Impressed.
No. You're fine. I'm gonna get into both. You asked a good question. I think that when you're fighting somebody who's ranked, you want to capture that victory. Your skill set is elite in the grappling department, so he did everything that he needed to do to do that. Rob Font really had no answer for the takedowns. I thought Font did a good job at first of getting low on his stance and really trying to keep his weight back. I thought that was an initial good game plan. Rosas Jr. was kind of, willing to strike in those moments until he was able to figure out how to get to a single and take him down. So I was impressed with his ability to implement his game plan so well and not find really any adversity in the fight. Did I find it to be enjoyable? Not really, because it wasn't really any damage. He got to dominant positions. He was able to scramble and float and always find himself and beat Font to the next position. He was very dominant. The control was fantastic, but not that much damage. He wasn't able to land, good ground and pound strikes. He wasn't able to, allow Font to get to a position and then punish him and then pass. So as far as that goes, I didn't think it was the most enjoyable fight to watch, but I understand why he was fighting that style.
Oh, for sure. I'll tell you what. When I was watching it reminded me of something that in high school one of the coaches said, which is you should always wrestle to win, never wrestle not to lose. And I just kind of felt like he went out there and he was making sure that he didn't lose that fight, if that makes sense. It didn't look like he was trying to get a dub, like I'm going out there to make a statement. Let me showcase something. He's like, no, I'm going to take him down. He's going to get up. I'm going to take him down again, and he's going to get up, and I'm going to bring him back to the mat. So
Sure.
it looked pretty repetitive and unenjoyable for most fans, but he did get the victory and obviously showcased that there was a discrepancy in talent in that area.
No, and I think you said something. I don't know if he necessarily was fighting not to lose as opposed to fighting to win. Rosas Jr. is also very young, right?
Very, yeah.
You're fighting somebody who has a wealth of experience on Rob Font and has been in the UFC for a long time. I think he's 23 now. At that age, he doesn't have everything firmly together. He's still trying to, against a lesser opponent, probably would have had him out of there. He's able to get to those positions, get to his jiu-jitsu, and land, good strikes on the top. But Rob Font was crafty. He came in, you could tell he spent a lot of time working on his jiu-jitsu, trying to get to position.
Those submission attempts were vicious.
Yeah, I just thought that wasn't a good strategy, looking back at it. And the reason why I say that is, if he did that to, threw up submissions in the hopes of creating opportunities to scramble and escape, that would be smart. But in 6 months or 3 months or 8 weeks or whatever the time frame is that he's been practicing, not that he's new to jiu-jitsu, you're hoping to be better than your opponent when that's their skill set that they've been super dominant at their entire life, or their entire career as far as mixed martial arts goes. I think that's not necessarily the smartest way. I think that you should be training and actively trying to improve and close gaps, but those gaps are not going to be closed overnight. So if you do find yourself in a situation where you're in a tough position, let's threaten submission to basically create space and look to get up. And it seemed like he was really actually trying to submit. If Rob Font had a chance to win the fight, it was on the feet. And I thought he was too willing to participate in grappling when he didn't have a sense of urgency in getting up. So I thought that, that's ultimately what Rosas Jr. wanted. And I think that if Font maybe took more opportunities to, take more chances, maybe those opportunities come for Rosas Jr. to be more aggressive as well. So, styles make fights, and it takes two to tango, so to speak. So it is what it is.
Do you think that just comes naturally sometimes with the stylistic matchup? Like, if you're so confident on your back, do you think he was just, super comfortable? Like, oh, take me down, I'm going to go for the submission, never felt really a threat?
No, like, if I'm being quite honest, I think that some coaches, and Faraz Zahabi is one of the greatest MMA coaches of all time, so I don't know what was discussed. Maybe that wasn't. I think sometimes we as coaches try to think about what our opponent wants to do too much instead of just neutralizing a weapon and getting away from it. Okay, if I take you scenarios, this is how you defend a single, this is how you do that, and the next thing you know, you're chain wrestling, and then you're trying to take the person down. How many times do we see that in fights? Versus you neutralizing, trying to change the position, build your guard, build your base, and then get back up. I think that's, the smartest strategy. And I think that sometimes when you spend too much time practicing on what your opponent is good at, you have the success in the training room, but you're not going against your opponent. Your partners are kind of letting you get the position. That way you can get comfortable with it. Then you're getting lower belt levels, potentially guys who aren't as good. Also, you're not throwing punches in this fight, in the training room the same way. So it's just a different feel. I think guys get comfortable and have a false sense of security because of that preparation sometimes.
No, fair enough. Big win for the young star, Rosas Jr. What do you expect to see from him moving forward? What's next?
Well, he should be ranked. Rob Font, I believe, was ranked 13th. In that division. So I think he should have a number by his name. Monday, I think that there's a bunch of guys, you got Batista, who's fighting soon. You got a bunch of premier guys that I feel like would make sense. Let me take a look. Before this, I had a couple names picked out. Let me take a look. Let's take a look. Peyton Talbot. I think that'd be a dope fight. Him or Kyler Phillips. I think either one of them would be a dope fight for him. You know what I'm saying? He's should be ranked. I think he should take his time. But one of the things about gift and a curse about getting a ranking, now that you're ranked, you kind of got to fight ranked guys. So now he's kind of thrown to the wolves, so to speak, he's going to get those matchups. So he's going to have to fight guys. Maybe a Cheeto Vera, if you think that you'll be able to take him down and dominate. And that's a big name that, but from here, the road becomes tougher. I think Rosas Jr. is someone who should have a bright career. He's closing gaps in the striking. He just has to be more confident to take those risks. But he's only 23, so, he has plenty of time.
Yeah, super young, plenty of time. All right, we got Michael Johnson and Drew Dober. We said that was going to be a real fight to watch, and we kind of got what we wanted. Drew Dober with the early KO in second round. Man, how'd you like it? Before
Bro,
that, though, Michael Johnson, you was looking good out there. He was moving quick, like I said. I was like, he was moving a little fast, and then exactly what you said would happen happened.
yeah, unfortunately, we rock with the home team
Had
as
to.
far as far as St. Louis goes, and whatever. But I like Drew Dober, man. It was no disrespect as far as picking Johnson to win. You got to pick somebody. Try not to straddle the fence, so to speak,
Mhm.
and make a prediction. But with that being said, which is funny too, they said it was some weird betting lines. Michael Johnson's kind of found himself in that situation a couple times. So I
Oh
hope he's not
no,
playing.
Michael,
But no, his last fight was canceled.
Michael, like
Bugging.
oh,
Anyway,
I'm weak.
anyway, but with that being said, yeah, it played out exactly how I expected it. It was funny. I know neither one of them listened to the show, but the keys to victory. They did exactly kind of what kind of what I was pointing out. I
Mhm.
spoke about how Drew Dober has a tendency to overload and be impatient and to really rely on his power and throw big looping shots out there. That Michael Johnson had a clear advantage in the speed department. Early in the first round, you got to see Michael Johnson really land those fast combinations.
Mhm.
But Drew Dober was patient. He didn't overload. He did try to use his kicks from the outside to get to the body and to go up top. He did set things up. He didn't just use looping shots. When he threw the hooks or overhands, he set them up with combinations, which is smart. Instead of just leading with a big uppercut and then a high kick or something. I think he
Mhm.
did an amazing job being patient. Dober 2.0. That's what he looked like in the cage yesterday. I was very, very impressed with his ability. I knew somebody would get spun,
Yeah, that was coming.
50-50.
I'm mad it was
Uh,
Michael, but yeah, we knew somebody was getting out of there for sure.
50 flip a coin, you know what I'm saying? Like I knew what it was. But if you would have told me before that Dober would be patient and as calculated as he was, I would figure. I told you, if we talked about skill for skill as far as in the striking department, Michael Johnson has ungodly power and he has speed on his side. But I thought Drew Dober was a more well-rounded
Yeah, well,
striker. I thought he was, he's a lot sharper, a lot more crisp. I think Michael Johnson is a sharpshooter with the boxing, but his kicks, cool, serviceable, but not as fluid and not as dynamic of a striker as Drew Dober. So I figure it probably wouldn't be that much grappling. They had a lot of respect between the two of them.
mhm.
And Dober did what he needed to do. He did it. He closed the distance with a short hook and then threw a left hand down a pipe, right down the straight, as I called. Not
Yeah.
a wild loop-in shot because, as I said, you go wide too much against a guy who's much faster than you. You're not gonna get there in time. And that was, murder she wrote for Drew Dober. Michael Johnson ended up getting finished. Sent him to the king, as Buck would say.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
unfortunate.
it, it
Do
was
you
it was
do you
it was
think with a different game plan, Michael would have had more success, or do you think he did what he was supposed to do in there? He went out there with the right mindset and fought the fight that should have been fought against a guy like Drew Dober.
no. I think he did a lot of things right. I don't feel like he lost due to something a major blunder in strategy. I think he was having a lot of success. You look at Dober's face; it was scratched up, marked up.
Mhm.
It was a banger. Both of them were going back and forth.
Yeah, it was ready.
Both have advantages in the striking realm, and I thought both of them did a good job of doing the strategy. I thought Drew Dober, the only part that's ever really been missing from his game is the IQ part, and it seems like him and his coaches did a really good job
Mhm.
of not relying too much on his skill, not skills, excuse me, not relying too much on his abilities and relied on his skills. And by abilities, I mean his power, his speed,
Mhm.
all that stuff. That I think he relied on his technique. And sometimes people forget that if you land a perfect shot, it doesn't always have to be the big, wide, powerful shot. The one you
Mhm.
don't see is the one that hurts the most. And you can
Yeah,
say
right
Michael
spot.
Johnson didn't see it coming. He went wide. Johnson goes to block and then straight down the pipe. Boop, caught him backing up. And it was a hell of a finish. I was thoroughly impressed with Drew Dober. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great fight for both guys. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. Robocop got the victory in the rematch. winning early. What was your thoughts about that, brother? Robocop looked good. I mean, it was a slow start to that fight, but I think he looked good.
Yet again, not much to break down in this fight. Robocop is one of those people who sometimes knows he has a bunch of, strength and power and those special abilities, as I mentioned, and sometimes can gas himself out and overextend himself and do too much. And then he'll find himself after he's hurt somebody extremely bad. I think, don't kill me if I got it wrong, Chidi and Jukwani, I think that fight was one, where he kind of found himself in some trouble, but neither here nor there. Funny enough, this was a rematch.
Yeah.
Fun to note. No, I forgot. I'm gonna be honest. Somebody in the comment section of the last video, shout out you for pointing out. I forgot, but I did see that fight back in the day. Bruno made his debut against Robocop, and he found himself in one of them scenarios, and Bruno ended up knocking out Gregory Rodriguez. My point being is, Robocop has found himself in trouble due to that style before. He was extremely patient. Just like I said, Drew Dober, he found himself to be more patient and calculated. You don't have to land that many if you land the right one. He was calculated. He moved well. He didn't overthrow. He didn't just waste his work. He set things up properly. And when he landed the shot, he knocked out Fajeda cold. It was a hell of a performance. Dober got a performance in the night bonus, and so did Gregory Rodriguez. Man, I think sometimes with these guys who are super talented, sometimes you get used to just drowning people. And I think one of the things that made throwing it to someone, Anderson Silva, such a great fighter. You look at Anderson didn't always have to do a lot, but when he did something, it was meaningful. And I think a lot of times with some certain fighters, they just want to swarm and over volume and the super high paced style, and I think that can be interesting, but sometimes you just got to really be cerebral and set things up properly, and those abilities will be there. Oftentimes when you search for the knockout, it does not happen, but when you allow it to come to you, that's usually the times where you'll find yourself knocking a guy out. You're not chasing it; it just happens.
No, that's real. What's next for him? Robocop got that knockout. You got some revenge. Who is next for him? You said somebody earlier, I think.
Yeah, I think I said
the Ritter. No.
What KO? No, I said Ritter. I said Ritter. You're right. I think that's a good fight for him. I'd be interested in seeing that. I think Gregory Rodriguez is a lot more than he's lost in the UFC. Excuse me. He deserves premium matchup. Fajeda, I think, was at the tail end of the rank side. I think he can start moving up in competition and find some bigger names again. I know he had that loss against Cannonier a while back, but he could find himself back with another premium matchup.
That's real. The rest of the card, anything you want to spotlight? Any fights that stuck out to you?
Not like, so I might throw this to you. What did you feel like the card did? We gave ratings before. What did you feel like? I feel like I pegged it pretty well. You know what I'm saying? 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. It was okay. A C. You know what I mean? It was solid work. Yeah. Nothing that had me, super, super pumped about it. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it was easy for fans to kind of look over this one. Just people around me. A lot of people were asking me, "Oh, wait, there's a fight card. Oh, Max Holloway's fighting tonight. Oh, Charles." Like a lot of people didn't really know about it. I'm glad that it happened. I'm going to give it a 6.5. If I'm being real with you.
Hey, I ain't mad at it, man.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it was a BMF title fight. I mean, that kind of dampens it, and it's unfortunate. Max Holloway took an L, so the card was all right.
Get out your fucking feelings, man.
It was cool. The card was all right.
Max Holloway lost before. It's okay, man. He lost to Charles Dubronx Olivera. Want to go?
Big ups to Charles, though. He looks gonna be
fine. No, also, something funny to note. That Cody Garbrandt fight. He ended up getting kicked in the nuts and was thrown up in the bucket. That's wild.
Cody.
I've never seen that before against.
I've heard that happens. I've never had it happen to me. I've never been hit in the nuts and threw up.
Nah, never. I've been in extreme pain. I've taken some nut shots before, but yeah, it was wild. That's crazy.
Cody had to get through it. He had to get through it. What do you mean?
Wait, that got him. Hey, look, that got him the victory. Honestly, I don't feel like he was winning that fight.
Yeah.
And Zhao Long, I think he had 3 fouls, 3 penalties where he hit him low, and he ended up winning on score on
that was the game plan. He said we about to get him up out of there, like you said.
Yeah, no, that's a
One way or
hell of a
another.
stretch. He said he put it on the line. Hopefully he had all his kids, you know.
That's Cody Garbrandt. I got nothing to lose. That's what he said.
I'm just saying. Hopefully he had all the kids you want to have, because after that he might not be having no children. You throwing up after a nut shot is
His
wild.
plans are over.
It might be shit.
All right. Any other thoughts on this card specifically, bro?
No, I think that was it. I think the BMF is done. Max Holloway.
No more BMF.
No, BMF out of here. Max Holloway, you can fight Connor. And then Charles Oliveira should fight either not Sarukian, because he already fought. See, that's what, man.
Yeah,
we don't get no clarity. We don't get no clarity in these situations. I don't know what's next for Charles Oliveira. Damn. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, this UFC 326 was cool. It's just, yeah, it's 7.5.
6.5.
7.5.
6.5.
No, we'll settle at 7. You're right.
We're gonna settle on 7.
We'll be in the middle. You're right.
All right, bro. They announced the UFC White House card. Ilia Topuria will headline it versus Justin Gaethje. That's going to be the main event for the Freedom UFC White House card.
Freedom 250. Put some respect on it, bro.
Freedom 250. You can tell by my excitement. I'm very pumped for this.
So let's pause there. What do you feel like that? That's a good main event, right?
That's a great fight.
Now, I didn't say a great fight. It's execution. Let's be honest.
It's something. I mean,
no, it's execution. Justin Gaethje, he said the other day that somebody finna get knocked out. It's like one of those situations where it's like you don't realize that you the lick.
One of us isn't gonna make it.
Yeah, we know who not finna make it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, all right. I know you said that.
If it's Mario Kart and there's like a banana peel where Topuria slip in the middle of the cage, that's the only way I see him getting knocked out.
Hey, bro, Justin Gaethje, put some respect on him.
No. You know, like one of those scenarios.
Patty.
No. You know, no, I didn't. I didn't say nothing.
No, not you. I'm talking about fans.
No, I thought. But did you see? No, bro. I have respect for Justin Gaethje, but come on now, that fight against Patty made. I've never seen somebody look. I haven't seen somebody make themselves look more beatable in a win.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was watching it, and I told people, I was like, I told them, I was like, if I was a betting man, I'd pick Justin Gaethje, and I told them why. And when I was watching the fight, there were certain moments where I was like, oh, this nigga's out of there. Like,
no, I had Justin Gaethje picked too. I didn't really see a world where Patty would win. And we have to remind, because I think
anybody could get hit. You know, I think I
picked Gaethje. I thought that Gaethje wrestling would be good enough to stop. But anyway, this ain't even about Patty. My point being is, this is probably gonna be execution. I don't understand what they're trying to do. You trying to have somebody die at the White House is wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a world where he wins. I think it's a fun fight though. Somebody finna get spun, and I think we know who.
Did you say if he take an L, he might retire?
Well, I feel like he finna retire.
Because I was like, they do be doing this to people in their retirement
No,
fights.
I think he knows it's the end of the road for him as far as what he's done in his career. I think he wants one last title shot before. He was already talking about retiring if he didn't get a title shot.
I would say bring Dustin back.
Nah, we don't want to.
If I'm finna retire, let me find somebody like
no.
Dustin.
You might as well see if you can get the strap. He's never won.
That's
he's never won.
He's only had interim, huh?
Yeah, he's never been an undisputed UFC champ. Let him see if he do that. He's earned the right. I'm not mad at it. I think Sarukian would be a way better fight, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he just be acting up outside the cage.
But it still be a better fight. I feel like
agree.
We don't know.
No,
I feel like we don't know for sure who will win.
I think Sarukian versus Topuria is a much better matchup to watch.
Yeah, like
Topuria, Justin Gaethje sells more tickets. I mean, for
it shouldn't though. But anyway,
for the Freedom card,
for the Freedom 250. Okay, but what's the next one on there?
Hey, it's Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane.
Big trash.
I'm not excited for that at all. I read it once, and I said when I say this out loud, it's gonna sound better, and I just don't even
for
sound
the interim heavyweight title. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a phenomenal card. This is not it, Edric. I'm over it.
What do you think about that fight in particular, though?
I mean, I love Alex Pereira. Cyril Gane, as talented as he is, I'm just not a fan of watching him fight, so it does nothing for me. And Cyril Gane just got, I mean, I guess technically he's not the champion.
No, he ain't the champion.
Yeah,
see, Evan, no. I'm not for the
eye poke, whatever.
I'm not finna call you out, but that's the disrespect that's been done with Tom Aspinall. You forgot this man was champion.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just forgot that he kept.
No. you forgot he was champion because they keep doing this random nonsense. Before you had Stipe Miocic and John Jones fight each other, and Tom Aspinall was the interim champion, had him looking stupid in the corner.
I forgot about Tom Aspinall.
I'm finna get my turn next time. Looking silly in the corner. And then he finally gets the title. John Jones ducks off. He ends up getting the title, right? And then ever since then, he really had a hard time getting booked. He get poked in the eye 50 times, and we know what Ciryl Gane be doing because he got a track record of doing some wild stuff in fights.
Yeah.
Go ahead, look it up. Talented dude though. But anyway, long story short, and then we find ourselves with another interim title picture with somebody who ain't never fought a heavyweight a day in their life. Heavyweight just is struggling. It's the struggle bus. That's what I'm gonna say.
They, a lot of people say they lacking star power. Maybe they're trying to Pereira sells tickets. They like bring him up there, but
I mean, we know what's to come when he vacated his title, but this ain't it.
That's a short run at heavyweight. I don't think he even wants to really be there. I think it's just for a strap and get out of there.
Well, that's what I think he knows. That's what the money is. I think he understands that. Okay, you have a rematch with what's my guy name? Muslim
former champion.
Yeah.
Ankalaev.
Ankalaev, thank you. He sparked Ankalaev. Maybe you fight him again. Maybe you win. Maybe you lose. Who knows, right? But Ankalaev ain't really that big of a draw. You already beat Prochaska. You beat Jamal Hill. You really don't have much there. John Jones seemed like the fight to make, but Ciryl Gane, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Ciryl Gane.
He's in there. He earned it.
For getting a fight.
I pokes get you a belt. That's what it showed me.
Yeah, that's wild. Anyway, what's the next one?
Sean O'Malley versus Eamon Zahabi. How you feel about this one?
Oh, even bigger trash. Throw that shit away.
I told you before I keep reading them. I'm not. I don't.
No, bro. Come on. If we were gonna have a fight with Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen is the obvious choice, right?
Yeah.
We both feel that way, right?
100%. I assumed if he fought, that would be his next fight. But
when I saw Sean O'Malley on the screen, I'm like, oh, okay, he finna fight Corey. Yeah. Eamon's a hobby. Like, what the?
I guess they think he a duck. They like, man, we just finna give these young guys a chance. Like, what you mean? I don't know how young he is, but that's crazy. O'Malley versus Zahabi doesn't excite me not one bit.
That's a UFC Fight Night headliner. That's what that is.
Fair enough. Hey, I know you are excited about the next fight on the card, though. Mauricio Ruffy versus Michael Chandler. I know you pumped for that one.
What? I
know it. Yeah. I know you're pumped for that one.
You're a funny man. You're a comedian because I couldn't be less excited. Two people who... First, look.
Michael Chandler walk out with the American flag, so...
What that mean?
It's White House 250. Freedom
250.
He deserves it.
Put some respect on it, bro. No, that fight trash. I don't care. Michael Chandler. Look.
I thought he retired. Not gonna lie.
Never mind. I never said a guy needs to retire, but it's a good matchup for him because there seems to be an issue with Rufi's grappling. But with that being said, Michael Chandler finna run and try to strike. He not finna use his wrestling at all. He finna have the dumbest game plan ever and do 50 spinneroonies and somebody finna get spun. But it is what it is. So I really don't even enjoy watching Michael Chandler fight.
You know what? I'm gonna call it Ruffy versus Michael Chandler fight of the night. They're getting the bonus.
No, okay.
Called it.
I bet you. Look, I won't be surprised.
Don't write that down. If we go back to this, I would be mad.
I mean, go ahead. What else on there?
You got Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins.
Who?
That's Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel. Put some respect on him. Versus Kyle Dawkins.
I know who Kyle Dawkins is, and Kyle Dawkins is a good fighter. Let me stop playing, but no, that's not it. That
depends who you ask. I think some people are gonna get out their seats for that one.
Go to the bathroom. That's the perfect time. You need something for the concession stand.
I gotta go get some nachos.
You need your little beer. That's the perfect
Bo
fight.
Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Let's go outside.
Yeah, you need to smoke a cigarette, but you can't do it in a venue. But you at home, you go outside. Get you
step out the venue, get my little cigarette.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's all the fights on there?
No, we got one more that's at least worth noting. Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia is a barn burner.
Yeah, I feel like you trolling, but I saw it last night too.
I didn't make the card up. First off,
they hyped the fuck out of this just to drop a. You see that clip where Joe Budden was like, "That's a 2-pack of ass." Like this shit is
This is for freedom. I just want you to know that,
bro.
All right, yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna exercise free. I'm gonna exercise free will and shit. I I mean, I'm gonna watch. Like, let me stop playing like I'm not gonna watch. But
Why
it's not.
Why did they not put John Jones on it? Crickets? No one?
I don't have the answer. You know,
I was going to ask the people.
No, I mean, John Jones seemed like they're trying to work on it. Dana said that one fight fell out. One fighter fell out, and they weren't able to. You know, they had to scramble and get it together. I would assume the grand plan. Dana White said that they were never going to ask John Jones. I feel like that's cap. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that's bullshit off the top.
It has to be.
John Jones, who's your premier star, especially who's an American, seems like he would make sense in this, you know, if you got the money right. I feel like, and I'm just being honest, that kind of Ben shit fucks shit up because you paid a boxer $15 million. Now the big fighter's like, I need that bag. I know you got it, Dana. I know you got it. You pay him 15. I'm gonna need something nice, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
So I feel like bag. I feel like that definitely probably fucked it up. But yeah, Ciryl Gane and Pereira for the interim don't do nothing for me.
Not at all. What fighter was supposed to be on this card?
That's what I'm saying. So they said a fight fell out. Dana White said that the night before. So they were scrambling to put one in. Dana said it wasn't John Jones and it wasn't Conor. Then who the fuck was it? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Who was it? You was about to get GSP out of retirement?
That's cap.
You had Khabib coming out of retirement. Like who was supposed to be the person?
Yeah, if there's something like that, I'm like,
nah, hell no.
That fell through last second.
No. But so my point being is, I assume it to be John Jones because it's the only thing that makes sense when you look at this card top to bottom. What is your excitement for Freedom 250?
You know what? Like I said, I'm gonna keep it a Tawaski. The more I read it, the better it gets. Let me just start from the top. You got Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. That's the main event. Okay. We got Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. I don't know if it's gonna be co-main. I would assume. Sean O'Malley versus Eamon Zahabi. And you just tell me when your excitement. Mauricio Ruffy versus Michael Chandler. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. I'm pumped.
You said let you know my excitement level. We can end the show right now because I'm not excited. I'm not going.
I'm pumped. I'm saving the date.
No, that's your ass. I'm gonna be honest. How much they built it up.
As a fan, I'm not excited.
But hold on. This is what I will say.
I don't think America agrees with this.
Hold on. Let me say something. When you look at the card, it makes sense. We don't get political on this show, but I'm not going to go into it. I saw Joaquin put on the post.
I'm looking.
No, he was like, bet on black. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't got a black people on the card. But I feel like from a PR standpoint, they pick the kind of people who won't cause a fuss to get along and go with the flow kind of crew. You know what I'm saying? Like from a PR standpoint, they didn't want anybody saying nothing too crazy, too wild. Having strong things to say, you know, they didn't want to hear somebody, you know, endorse a certain thing on either, you know what I'm saying? So from a PR standpoint, it makes sense.
It was calling Michael Chandler Dana's son, so I get what you're saying.
From a fight fan standpoint, this the most confusing card of all time. I don't see it.
I don't think even with the names on there, I don't think anyone sees the fight, reads the names, and gets excited. You see Sean O'Malley, and like you said, across from it, you're like Corey Sandhagen. It's like Eamon Zahabi. Like they're like,
and Eamon is a good fighter. He's just not that much of a draw.
Yeah, I'm not knocking any of these.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not that much of a draw. Same with what's my guy name? What's buddy name who fighting Diego Lopez? Steve Garcia. Thank you. Steve Garcia is a good fighter. He's not a bad fighter, but you see him mostly fighting on a lot of fight nights for a reason because he's not that big of a draw. It's no disrespect to skill sets. When you think of Freedom 250, this being the biggest event ever, it's on the White House lawn. This is gonna be the biggest thing ever. These names don't say that to me. It's not something that you feel like, you know, I feel like if you look at a UFC 300 or UFC 200 or UFC 100, you saw bigger names.
100.
That's great. Like that's
I 100% agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like so it just didn't. You know, it just didn't really. I
thought they were just going to go harder for America. That's all I thought.
Well, you know, it is what it is. But I feel like from a PR standpoint, you needed the right kind of people to be on this card. And I feel like that's kind of what they're doing. That's my personal opinion. It is what it is. I guess it's only 6 fights. I'm interested to see how this goes. I will watch. I think it's a weird sort of event. I've already said that before, just for a bunch of reasons. I don't feel like fans really gonna have access to this one. It's probably just gonna be a bunch of the current president's friends and rich people. Kind of elitist, kind of weird, kind of party thing. I think it's a little weird. But it is
like
what
Hunger
it is.
Games?
Well, will I watch? Of course. I don't know that I've missed a numbered UFC card, which this ain't even numbered. It's Freedom 250. We went back and, but I get it. For those people who want to be serious, yes, 250 years of America. I understand. I'm just, these are jokes here.
It's a joke.
You always get one person in the comment section like, no, actually.
Yeah. By the way,
I got it. Anyway, with that being said, my excitement level out of 10, we're gonna do it just like that. It's a 6. It's a 6 for me. It's all right. It's cool.
I just feel like you're nice. I feel like you're nice, and it's because of your knowledge of the sport. You understand what could actually happen in these fights more than a lot of people. And I feel like for the average fan looking at this is a 3 at best. You got Sean O'Malley and Alex Pereira. They will get people up. Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje. Yeah, you got 3 fights on the card that are probably going to get people up. Michael Chandler, is he a fan favorite?
People love watching Chandler because they know he's gonna go do some dumb shit. They know he's gonna go.
That's real. I was just thinking. I'm like,
but it's not even that. I feel like
Bo Nickel's not there yet.
Armin Sarukian versus somebody would be cool. Like some of the premier guys in these weight classes that you would expect to see. Some of the guys with star power you would kind of want to see. And then, the demographic too, like it's not even like these, like some of the best American fighters. It's kind of weird. You would think, and I know why they didn't do it, but somebody like a Sean Strickland would make sense for this. Even I don't think he wanted to fight on this card. But like some of the, more premier American guys. But like I said, I know why I get it. It makes sense. When I look at
it makes sense when you break it down.
Mm-hmm. What else we got?
Does it feel like there's something lacking from recent UFC events?
What you mean?
Do you think the recent UFC events have been up to par? Do you think they've been worth it?
I'm gonna ask you the same question. Well, how do you feel about recent UFC events?
You know what? If I'm being honest, not the biggest fan, but that's just me. I feel like they cut a deal and then they thought people were going to get excited, but they didn't do anything more. And it's almost like there's so many fighters, reading those names, so many fighters that I just come across that I've never heard of. I don't even know. It seems like every week there's new people, and not enough stars anymore, I guess. I feel like at the beginning, like obviously you got me into this. At the beginning, it was like, oh my God, these guys, you always knew who the stars were, and they were always headlining every pay-per-view and every card. But now it's like card. So I don't know. It's almost as if they're giving us too many fights, but who knows?
Yeah, I think that's you hit on something good. Excuse me, I'm doing the headphones like Ray J was the glasses and the interview. Excuse me for those who see. But
you need the glasses.
Right. But with that being said, I do think oversaturation is an issue. When you look at every single fight card, most of the time that you're watching these people, especially on the undercard, you don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, you would get 1 or 2 fight cards a month. And it really meant something to see somebody. And you really wanted to see a guy's debut. You believed they belonged there. But now when guys are making their debuts, they're here one day, gone the next. And you don't care because it's not going to mean nothing. If you're in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And you're making a roster and you're getting meaningful playing time, you're probably going to be in the NBA. Barring injury or something crazy unforeseen, you're probably going to be in the NBA for, the entire season. But in this, you've got guys who are fighting at the highest level in a professional league who may or may not be here in the future. So it's hard to really tie yourself to their story. Where before, you feel like you're investing in knowing somebody who was going to be here and have staying power. You wanted to see their first fight. You were excited to see their debut. And you feel like they really belonged. Well, with the oversaturation and with them having fights every single week, now you have to try harder to find the next fighter. You can't fight everybody back to back. So you need to find people who are willing to fight. So you take chances on guys. And even some of the really skilled guys, they're not entertaining necessarily. So the oversaturation has really led to there being less stars. Like, I remember back in the day, I wanted to watch the prelims because this might be the only fight I get to watch the whole month. Now it's a fight every week. You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't hit the same. And then I feel like some of the gimmicks, BMF, all this stuff like that, I feel like the sport has moved strongly to entertainment more than merit-based as well. I feel like if the UFC would really make sure that most of the time the best guy is going to fight for the title, I feel like we've gotten away from that a little bit. And I feel like that's been frustrating. You can have somebody like Arman Sarukian be the #1 contender and then him, pull out of a fight and then him not fighting for the title. He's fight once and then now Justin Gaethje, who's already lost and fought for the title multiple times. It's like, okay, like the bear base, the Tom Aspinall situation where Tom is the champion, interim champion, and instead of unifying that belt, you end up doing Stipe Miocic, and then John Jones just kind of retires and runs off, and then it looked like they were trying to set up the Pereira fight. My point in saying all this is, I feel like if the fights were more merit based, how they kind of used to be, and sometimes yes, guys would jump the line. I've seen it before. I've talked about Conor McGregor in the past, but with that being said, that makes it hard to keep along with. Just like Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley, that seems like it makes sense. Nope, you get Aben Zahabi. Okay, and if Sean O'Malley wins, Sean O'Malley will fight for a title, and he gets to skip Corey Sandhagen, which is nuts.
Yeah,
that's frustrating. That's frustrating from a fan's perspective, at least from mine. I want to see the best guy go out there, fight the best people, and get the premier matchups that we want. Now, I understand that sometimes things happen, guys get injured. Who knows the backstory behind it? But I feel like that's kind of missing. And then the heavyweight division is just it's
a mess.
It's a mess. It's boring. There's no real. I mean, Tom Aspinall's a champion, but he don't feel like he's the champion to a lot of people. Not because his skill set, just because it's hard to book him. He hasn't really fought in multiple years. He fought in the one fight.
It's disrespectful. I forgot that he was the champion. I literally was like, "This serial guy."
You know what I'm saying? He got poked in the eye early in a fight. So you don't really get to see him fight. And he sat on the sidelines, hoping to unify the belt and possibly find John Jones. It's just been a mess. But of course, the UFC is the king of the MMA, of fights. But I feel like people are losing a little interest in just throwing anything together. I get it. When you have that large contract and you have to have fights every week, what are you supposed to do? I don't have an answer, but I know why it feels like it's lacking from a fan's perspective. I just don't feel like every single time there's a fight that fans feel like they really need to watch. And as I said before, if I miss this fight this week, next week there'll just be more fights. So I ain't watched them prelims. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did watch some. I'm not gonna lie. I did watch I missed like the first 3 prelims of the last card. But if I missed them all, what does it matter? I could just go back and scroll through and click on it the next day if I really wanted to do it.
I get what you mean. It's hard to become an everyday mixed martial arts fan or UFC when you don't have someone to just pull you in. You know what I mean? And now it's so hard to find the right card to watch, let alone one with, like you said, the right star power. It's like this one you'll get to see Sean O'Malley. Your first fight card could have been Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen, and that could have been memorable and got you into mixed martial arts. But Amen Zahabi, so it's like you're not going to get an everyday mixed martial arts fan from that.
Sure. And also accessibility too. Like I said, the more, typically, like if you look at boxing, you get these big stars who fight once or twice a year and it meant something. And I understand MMA, we kind of did the same thing, but it's hard to really have this huge victory that seems like it means something when there'll just be a fight next week and you forget about the next week. Oh, who did this person beat? Like, we'll forget that Max Holloway fought Charles Olivera in a month's time because there'll be 4 fights that happen since then. It's not going to matter. BMF what? BMF who? So I think all of that has lent to be a problem. The UFC is very smart. They'll probably figure it out, and I think fans will continue to watch. But we need something to spice it up. I feel like this year has been a little lackluster. That's just my opinion.
Big news, Francis Ngannou is out of the PFL. What does that mean for you, Edric? What does it mean for mixed martial arts?
Man, Dana call Francis right now. Get him back to the UFC. That's what I hope it means.
Is he going to do business with Dana? Dana talked pretty reckless on Francis.
That shit is never going to happen, but it'd be good for all parties involved. Francis is in a bank heist going to PFL, spun, ended up beating that Brazilian dude. We don't know that dude name.
The big boy. Yeah, he was big boy. He fell.
Did a bunch of boxing matches, made a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to see him come back to MMA. I think Francis has probably made a good amount of money where he doesn't have to, but that would do something for the UFC's heavyweight division. That would bring back some allure and some luster and some shine. Wouldn't you love to see Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall? That sounds fantastic. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
He's coming back.
That would be fantastic. Things like that. So yes, that would bring some life into the UFC, especially that heavyweight division that I feel like has been depleted and lacking big matchups and fun fights to watch.
I agree. Especially, I mean, heavyweight, like it's just been a mess for so long at this point. Like you said, star power alone would really help the division. Francis, everybody's watching when he fights.
Of course.
Just one punch and it's over with. So I think if they can get him, they should. But will they give him the bag? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's just, can they mend that business relationship? And I don't see it happening. I think Francis is pretty rooted in his principles where he feels like he was doing wrong. Dana White feels scorned for whatever reason. I've heard some stories behind the scenes, but, it's not for me to really divulge or really get into. All I'm saying is it would be good for all parties involved. I think that'd be fantastic. And we could take off one of them fights and put John Jones versus Francis Ngannou on the White House card. Wouldn't that be a banger? That'd be fantastic. But
that would be crazy. That's not if they could get that done ASAP, that would be crazy.
But let's give some love to Francis Ngannou for signing the biggest one fight deal ever. You know what I'm saying? He hit the bank heist. I don't even know what he got paid, but for him to go over there and get to do whatever he wanted, a bunch of side quests, box Anthony Joshua, go fight.
Grand Theft Auto. He was out there.
You know what I'm saying? Go box not Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury, excuse me. Him to go box him and give you one fight and go beat up the Brazilian dude in like a minute and a half. Man, genius. Excellent business.
You figured it out. I can't hate on it. I wish I could go out there and do that. I'm trying to get the one fight deal, but
I ain't finna fight.
They're not looking for me.
I ain't finna fight Francis. I tell you that. Shit.
I wouldn't. I don't think we're in the same weight class. I'm cool.
Hell no. But yeah, shout out Francis.
Shouts out Francis.
Thank you for watching another episode of Brick Brothers Podcast. As always, like, share, subscribe, be a brick.